Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry, 24/7 shopping available. 160920 is the code. Show her some love, like she showed us. K&A Custom Crafts on Facebook.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Holistic Health and Hot Mamas. I'm Jo Tierney, and I'm here with Courtney Groves. Hi, everybody. So we're back live. We tried the recorded route, and we didn't love it, so we're back. We're back now. We're in the live. We're still working on our lighting. I'm a little too bright, and Courtney is a little too dark, but we'll continue to work on that. So. Hi, everyone. I already said that. Courtney, welcome back, and tell us how your week was and what's happening.
Yeah, my week was really good. We've had really great weather here in upstate New York, so I had a chance to go on a couple of hikes this weekend with my family. And I'm just really taking advantage of the nice fall weather because it's my favorite season.
Okay, great. Well, your audio quality is not great, so I don't know if you can, how you can adjust that, if you can move closer to where you are. We can't hear you very well, though. No.
Can you hear better now?
A little better. A little bit better. All right, say something else so we can verify that.
Yeah, so I was just talking about how I've been enjoying the nice fall weather. I've been going on hikes with my family and just trying to spend as much time outside as possible.
All right, so we did hear you there. That's great. And so I want to do a little bit of a recap that we had, the last time we spoke, we talked about the shoe drive, and we had great success with the shoe drive. So thank you everybody for participating in that. We got hundreds of pairs of shoes. We did the collection and the sorting. So we're into the next process. We're going to be donating them to a worthy organization that's going to help the Afghanistan evacuees. So we can't thank you all enough for that and for that help and guidance. So thanks so much. We put a call out and we asked for your help and you responded. So thanks so much for that. And so Courtney talked about her celebration, which was she went hiking, enjoyed the fall weather, and I went on a great trip, a girls' weekend. It was fabulous. I should say ladies' weekend. And we had an amazing time. It was very cathartic. I think it's great when you're able to spent some time. I went with my sisters and my kid was with my cousins and my mother, and it was a lot of fun. It was certainly really reinvigorated my soul. It helped me refocus on what my goals and ambitions were, and I just think it was great all the way around. I recommend it for anybody. Don't put off any trips. Go and spend time with your family and friends. And we spoke about it. We actually talked tonight, and we're going to talk about your challenge last week, and we spoke about your digital detox, but we spoke about that and how just being off of our phones and doing things and just playing games and walking and having great food and great conversations, how important that was. And it really was. It was a great time. So, okay, now what? We talked about that. Let's talk about our topic of the week, segment 1. And we said that this week we're going to talk about festive foods and we're going to talk about things that align with the seasons. And I'm going to pass it to you, Court, and tell me what you have for your festive food and how do you make it? What are the ingredients? And have you tried it? Oh, we have a guest. Hi. All right. Hi, Maddie. Thanks for joining the conversation. So let's talk about our festive foods now that we have a festive friend there and on the set.
Yeah, so I made apple fries. So last time we were here, I spoke about how I went apple picking with my family. So I used those apples to make air fried apple fries. I don't have the ingredients list right in front of me. I was actually gonna post it on the Holistic Health and Hot Mamas Facebook group. But it was milk, stevia, cinnamon, flour, and apples. I believe that's all the ingredients. And you just put them in the air fryer And that makes it a lot healthier than if you were to, actually fry them. And they were really good.
All right, so we're live on set. We have some reinforcements, so hopefully we're gonna get yeah. This so I'm going to talk about my festive food. I wanted to incorporate something for the fall weather to make something warm and to incorporate. I'm not a big. I know that it's a big pumpkin spice season. I'm not huge in the pumpkin spice. I think that many of those foods and drinks are things like things like coffees and teas. That's not really my thing. I do have pumpkin spice protein shakes sometimes, but I found a great recipe for pumpkin chili, and I also like pumpkin squash and those types of things. So the pumpkin chili has, and I'm going to read it, it's very similar. It has spicy sausage, fire roasted tomatoes, pumpkin puree, cinnamon, kidney beans, and I can't wait to try it. It's got a little bit of spice, a little bit of sweet. I'm going to put some nutmeg in, a little bit of sweetener, and I'm looking forward to it. So that's something that we can definitely look forward to. What about you, Cort? What do you think of pumpkin chili?
Yeah, that actually sounds really good. I love chili. I've never tried pumpkin chili, but chili is one of my favorite things to make in the fall and winter. I usually make it with turkey and like ground turkey, and I just throw in whatever vegetables I have. So I'm definitely interested in trying the pumpkin chili.
And Justin is saying pumpkin is real. The pumpkin is real. So thanks for that, Justin. I'm going to challenge you. I mean, I don't know if Justin's a fan of pumpkin. He said, "How can you do two things at once?" It's because we're mothers and we're used to it. And I think, yeah, we're used to multitasking. So we're trying to navigate that. And then, so what else are we going to talk about? So we also going to talk about our wellness trend for the week. Cora, what did you find?
So I that work or wellness in the workplace is becoming a trend. I think employers are, learning that their employees really are focusing on their health and wellness, especially post pandemic. And, now that Gen Z and millennials are entering the workforce, I think it's really important to them, to you spend so much time at work, so you want to make sure you're taking care of yourself and not just focusing on only work all the time.
I agree. I think it worked for even for myself now that I'm back to work. I find that I eat healthier in the office because I'm much more disciplined and I have a group of girlfriends that I have lunch with and walk with. And I think it's good for my mental well-being to get out and walk and have people to talk to and a break throughout the course of the day. I think I'm much less inclined to eat unhealthy because they have like-minded objectives that I do. I think they're generally like to eat healthy and so we have that in common. And of course we're friends, so that's we have lots of other things in common, so that's great. And I think too that there have been many initiatives in the course of my career that they've had walking groups and weight loss challenges, and it's a different vibe when you're surrounded by people that challenge you, and it's a little bit of a competitive spirit. So I think it's very beneficial for businesses. I mean, they're not just doing it when your employees are healthy, you're healthier, but it's not just altruistic. It also saves company money. It also saves companies money when their employees are not ill, and you have more productivity, you're more inclined to come to the office. And I think that that's a big part of it. And certainly I'd like to believe that most corporations believe in the health and wellness of their employees. And of course, I believe that they do. But it's also a business, and businesses are about the profit and the bottom line. So that's something to be mindful of. And
I
Justin is agreeing. He's saying that, saving money is the way to go. And that's the truth, both personally and professionally.
When I worked in an office setting before I was a mom, the office that I worked in actually had a gym, and I used to, go there in the mornings before work, and I would actually also go there and walk on the treadmill during my breaks. So it is nice to work for a company that, you know, sees that their employees need to work on their, mental health and physical health.
I think that that's interesting, but I think that it says speaks to something. You were in the insurance industry, correct? The healthcare industry. So I think it's more prevalent in those industries. I think that, you're not often going to see a gym in most organizations. So I think that's a great benefit. Um, and I think that it's, yeah, if we're going to encourage any other organizations who have that capability to really take advantage of it, because it's really can elevate and change the scope of your business and your employees' lives, certainly.
Absolutely.
So my wellness trend, and so you'll be surprised, this may interest you. It's since you have young children, my children are grown now, but it's about wellness for youth. And I found it, there's a Barbie wellness collection. And I was a big Barbie fan growing up, and I still can be known to break out a Barbie with my young nieces, and I enjoy it. But I found it very interesting. Barbies with face mask Barbie. They had fizzy bath Barbie, breathe with me Barbie, which is a meditation Barbie, and it's really incorporating mindfulness practices for young children and encouraging that. So I love that. I found they have yoga for children, even going so far as the youngsters. Yoga with Elmo and Sesame Street is incorporating some more mindfulness trends in their programming. And I think a lot of it is because the recognition that, especially during the pandemic and post-pandemic, that really is a traumatizing period of time for children. And I'm curious to see how it plays out and impacts children 10 years from now, because even my own children who are older were, in the beginning of the pandemic, they're worried about losing their grandparents, and they were worried about catching what was at the time was told to be and it was a terminal illness for many people. But I think it prompted fear in the hearts of many children and in their minds. And children don't have the same deductive skills that adults have, and the same mechanisms to vet information. So I think that it's going to be very interesting to see how our children are impacted moving forward.
Yeah, I agree. Luckily, my kids were young enough. I don't think it really affected them too much. I think it mostly affected, the older kids that, lost out on time with their friends and their family. But I agree. I think we will see, in the next couple of years how exactly it did affect everybody.
And adults as well. I mean, think about it. For instance, there was someone who didn't go on the trip this weekend with us because they're still fearful of the variants, and even though they're vaccinated, and that's true, it still prompts fear in many people, and it's something to be mindful of moving forward in life. And unfortunately, it is people lost people they love. We want to minimize that tragedy, and vaccination isn't a magic pill. I mean, people still get sick, and we don't know the long-term ramifications. And I understand the fear. I certainly do. So it's something to be mindful of. And, Jason is saying a lot of kids lost out on their high school sports and graduations, and that's true. And we don't typically talk about sports on this program, but Justin's bringing it up, and we're going to talk about it later on the Bo Joe show. But he's saying, Kyrie Irving does not have the vaccine, and I think that that's another thing, that all of these role models for children, and that's a basketball player, and many celebrities have chosen, many sports figures have chosen not to get the vaccine, and I think that it's a matter of personal choice, but I think it confuses children. They don't know what to do, and really their parents are dictating those choices for them. So it's it's just their mental health is going to be impacted for sure.
Yeah.
So those are our wellness trends. Now let's talk about our self-care around the world. We talked about the dysfunction. Let's talk about what we can do to help keep us in check.
Yeah, so I have Japan, and they practice something called Shinrin Yoku, which means forest bath. So it doesn't mean that you actually take a bath in the forest. What they do is they go out into nature. It doesn't have to be a forest, but just anywhere in nature. And they just, they put their phone away and they just really use all their senses to explore nature and really take it in. And they actually use this as a source of preventative medicine.
Really? That's interesting.
Yeah, and so health benefits. Boost reduce blood pressure, and increase ability to focus.
All right, I'm gonna have to try that. And Justin's saying the wild forest, but it doesn't have to be wild. You can just imagine that in your home. And I think that's great. My self-care around the world is Iceland, and you've probably heard of the geothermal lagoons in Iceland. And if you haven't heard of it, a lot of people, the Kardashians are lounging around in them. We don't we don't get to go to Iceland, and I'm wondering if there's a way to mimic that in your own home. But we've seen the photos of them, but might not know it's a toasty water, and maybe you can simulate that in your own bathtub, a hot, steamy bath. But they help control acne, prevent aging of the skin, improve respiratory conditions like asthma, and I believe that's probably from the steam. Often offer pain relief, improve circulation, and increase your endorphins. So, and there's something, and endorphins in themselves really elevate your mood, and I find that that's true. You can also simulate that with exercise, but if you can lounge around in the bath, that sounds better than exercise. So if you have the opportunity to visit one, I'm certainly and most people, it may be a similar experience to a hot tub, but without all the chlorine. So give that a try. I encourage everybody to go ahead and do that. So that's our self-care around the world. We'll hopefully we'll have some new and inspiring ways to take care of yourself next week as well. So what's on our agenda next? What do you want to talk about? I think it's time for Courtney's Corner. That's our segment where Courtney delves in and spends a little bit of time bringing up something that is of interest to her.
Yeah, so you may have seen on the news today, the FDA is encouraging the food and restaurant industry to lower the amounts of salt that they use in their food. But it's not a mandate. It's just they're just encouraging the food industry to do so. The American Heart Association says lowering sodium levels in the food supply would reduce risk of hypertension, heart disease, stroke, heart attack, and death, in addition to saving billions of dollars in our healthcare costs over the next decade. But I wonder, what do you think? Do you think the FDA is really going to have an impact by saying this? They're not mandating it. They're just do you think, the industry is really going to comply?
No, I don't believe that the industry will comply. I think that unless it's mandated, I find it really hard to believe that the FDA is going to have much of an impact. I think that encouragement is the first step towards mandating something. I mean, I think that that's how it happened with trans fats. I mean, and if you'll remember, I forget when they did that 20 years ago, McDonald's was, all of our food tasted much better because it was fried in trans fat. Oreos were better, French fries were better, at least tasted better. They weren't very healthy for us, but it really wasn't. And I think that we knew that. I mean, I don't know if anybody here remembers, but they would have the big can of Crisco or the shortening lard. They fried with lard, and I believe any of those um, oils. I don't think they were oils, but any of those frying agents and cooking agents that were essentially solidified fat, until the FDA made it mandatory that they be removed. And there was a big outcry at the time. It wasn't done. So I do believe that sodium is instrumental in contributing to many disease factors, and it also contributes to inflammation. And you know that anybody who suffered a heart attack, anybody who has had congestive heart failure, they're encouraged, and they're not even encouraged. They're told, obviously, you can't make people do anything, but they're told to limit their sodium consumption, and that's how they turn their life around or turn their health around. And oftentimes it's too late. But so just that fact in itself, think about it. If you have too many chips before you go to bed, the next day you're bloated, your ankles are, you don't feel as well. And I had a weekend with a lot of food and drink, and that's exactly what happened. You feel bloated, and I had to drink water. I spent much of my day drinking water yesterday and today, really to make myself feel better. And I think that's, if you're physically able and healthy enough to have some salt, that's not to say you can't have it in your diet, but everybody should limit the salt consumption. So I think it's coming. I think mandating is coming. What do you think?
Yeah, I sure hope so. I do think that I was doing a little bit of research on it today, and I do think that the sodium levels are, outrageous. But I guess at this time, it's really just up to the consumer to pay attention to how much salt they're actually ingesting. And to
And
just,
I will say that inflammation is the number one cause of disease, and inflammation is in large part caused by sodium.
right.
I mean, certain studies say that. So that's something to be mindful of. So my tidbit is really so mine is Tierney's Tidbits. This is my segment coming up, and it has a lot to do with my weekend. I actually did a lot of thinking, and I don't know how many, I believe some of the viewers know that, we have, I have a wellness program, and Courtney is my partner in that practice. And we're going to be changing, actually. We have given a lot of thought to, I've learned a lot about health and wellness over the course of the last 5 or 10 years, and I've become certified in many of those endeavors. I'm a certified health coach. I'm a certified life coach. I'm a certified success coach. I am a board certified NLP, neuro-linguistic programming practitioner. I am a certified clinical hypnotherapist. And I think that we're changing up the formula for wellness and weight loss, and many people believe that it's all a nutrition and exercise. Eat less, exercise more, but there's more to it than that. And I think that because I've struggled with that throughout the course of my life, I've come to realize that the mindset piece is equally as important. It's a three-pronged approach. I call it a tripod. If you don't have one of the legs of that initiative, then the rest of it tumbles over. And so I think I'm going to really start, and I've thought about the duration of a program. I've given it actually a lot of consideration throughout the course of the last year, but I really pulled it all together this weekend. I think that I've toyed with 90 days, 60 days, but I think all of that is a lengthy period of time and difficult for people to commit with. So I think I pared it down to a 30-day program. I'm going to incorporate some hypnosis and mindset into it, and I'm going to change the name of the practice to JTD Health Mindset and Hypnosis Center. So I'm throwing it out there for the first time tonight. What do you think?
I love it. I'm so excited. I think it's great.
I don't know what Justin thinks. Here, I got to look this up. He said, we need nerds to do the program. I don't know about that, Justin. I think that anybody who's interested in health and wellness, I'm thinking they're pretty cool. So I'm going to disagree with you there, but if any nerds, or I'm not sure what classifies as a nerd, but the program's certainly available and welcome to anybody. And if anybody, we're actually going to do a pilot program. We have a few participants, so if anybody's looking to be our guinea pig, give a DM us, and we're going to be looking for a select, maybe 5. We have 3 3 out of 5. I was gonna limit it to 4, but if there are 2 additional people who'd like to jump on and pilot the program, we're gonna be officially launching in January. We're gonna be going full steam ahead, and we figured that's a great time because everybody's doing their New Year's resolutions. And we know it's successful because it's worked for myself, and it's Courtney's had some success with it as well. We've helped many people over the course of the last 2 years. But this is a new program, so before we officially launch it, we want to have some test subjects. And exactly, Justin, Christmas is coming soon, so we will have 4 or 5 test subjects. We have 3 right now, and then we're going to move forward. Um, so that's my tidbit. We also have the Hot Mamas Challenge. We talked about that last week. So how did you do, Court? Well, yeah, I challenged you to a digital detox. I did it myself, actually, by accident. It just happened to work out that way. It worked out very well for me. How did you manage?
Yeah, actually the same thing happened for me. So it was the first 2 days just track how I normally use my phone, and I forgot exactly how much it was, but it was outrageous. I actually use my phone. But then the 3 days after that, I actually had a lot of plans. I was really busy, so it ended up working out. I didn't use my phone much at all. But I have been since then. I've been trying to be more mindful, and make sure not to use my phone too much. Especially, like I said, I'm trying to spend more time outside and just try to enjoy this nice weather while we have it.
Amazing. And then my challenge was to do, I believe it was 4 days of cardio in addition to the other endeavors I do, and in addition to the strength training. So I was happy. The trip also helped me in that. We did a lot of walking around, but so we went on Saturday. I did it last week, and I don't recall how many days I did it last week, but Sunday I hopped on the treadmill while we were there, and I did Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So I averaged over 20,000 steps, and I'm sure I did it last week as well. So I certainly did the challenge, and it is something that I enjoyed. And my treadmill actually broke last week. That's right. So I was on the treadmill before I left, and the treadmill broke. I have a new treadmill sitting here waiting to be put together. So luckily, just in time for that. I had to force myself to be outside, and we've been blessed with great weather. And I know it's our last hurrah. So that's the reason I bought a new treadmill. But yeah, even today, throughout the course of this week in the Northeast in New York, it's going to be in the 70 degrees through Friday. So I'm taking advantage of that.
Well, great job on your proud of you.
Thank you. I'm proud of you too. So let's think about what we're going to challenge each other to do next week. And I will say, on a side note, I do have a challenge going with Justin. Justin and I, every month, we try to do a fitness challenge. We've done push-ups so far. Justin, who's won? I forgot. I think I'm not sure if I won the push-up challenge or Justin did. Then we did that, I believe, in August. In September, we did a sit-up challenge, and he may have bested me on both of those months. And this month, we're doing a plank challenge. So Justin's telling me he won. He won all of those. So I think that friendly competition and challenges with your peers and friends are great ideas, and I encourage you to do it. So this month, what am I going to challenge you to do this week? I already forgot. I said I was going to challenge you to do something. Oh, I'm going to challenge you. You confided in me that you haven't been drinking enough water. I don't know what your benchmark is and how much water you typically drink, but I am going to challenge you to drink let's say, I'm going to say 90 ounces a day.
All right.
All right.
I good at this last not doing great. So I'm definitely up for that.
All right, great. And Justin's saying you should challenge yourself too, to push yourself. And I think that's great advice. And I spoke about that a little bit this weekend, that somebody was speaking to me. I was speaking to somebody about willpower and how I don't believe in willpower. I believe that I think that many people get derailed in their ambitions because They say that they don't have any willpower, but I don't think it's necessarily that, because most of the time, uh, it's not about willpower, and I don't want people to believe that. It's just about discipline and motivation. We're not all motivated every day. You just have to be disciplined to do it. It's not that you're not strong enough to resist anything, and you shouldn't have to resist anything all the time. So I don't want people to think that they're failures in that respect. But I challenge you to just stay motivated even when you don't feel disciplined or don't have willpower, because we all struggle, and we all want to enjoy life, and sometimes that means indulging in our favorite foods, or giving ourselves a break.
Right, I agree. Whenever I'm not feeling very disciplined, I remind myself, if I just get it done, then I'm one step closer to my goal.
And I think another big thing is, and this is something that I've reintroduced, when you identify your whys, and your whys are never, and maybe we'll do this exercise one day, maybe that'll be my Tierney tidbit for next week. But when you identify your why, and your why isn't typically because you want to look good in those jeans, you got to delve a little bit deeper. Yes, you want to look in those jeans, but why do you want to look good in those jeans? To improve your self-esteem, to enhance your self-confidence, to feel more comfortable in a relationship, and more freedom, and be able to go out comfortably, to enjoy yourself at a concert or a dinner, or just to live longer, to increase, to feel healthier, to increase your longevity. And oftentimes it comes down to something just more basic: freedom, love, or peace. So think about your why, and if you're thinking it's about really tied to your parents, there's a much deeper root in most instances. So, and I'm certainly willing to help anybody delve into that. Courtney or myself both have that mindset, proficiency, and prowess. So feel free to reach out to either one of us. And Justin saying, uh, motivate yourself each day and keep going every day. Uh, so what's your take on bad relationships, and what are our goals? So I'm not sure. I have many professional goals and personal goals, but my goals, and for one, my professional goals are to really to help as many people as I can. I don't want anybody to squander years of their lives because they don't feel healthy or look healthy, or they're hiding away based on excess weight. There's a reason that people hold on to weight, and I like to help them uncover why they're holding on to it. That's my professional goal. And what's my take on bad relationships? I think bad relationships are bad for your soul. And when anything that's bad for your soul probably isn't good for your life. I mean, that's my take in a nutshell. What are your thoughts, Cart?
Yeah, I think bad relationships are just a waste of time, waste of energy. If you're being treated badly in a relationship, no one deserves that. Everyone deserves to be treated, like the prince or princess that they are. So if you've got a bad relationship, get out. That's what I say.
Of course, we say that, and that's for an intimate relationship. And some relationships, there are all types of relationships in your life, and many are dysfunctional, and you can't necessarily walk away from every single relationship, but you can distance yourself from them. Obviously, you may not. You can, but most people don't want to sever ties with their parents or their children, and even what if you share small children with an ex? You have to maintain a cordial relationship for the benefit of your parents, but for your children. But you don't have to participate in the dysfunction. You can choose to uh, ignore it. I mean, oftentimes the way you respond to other things, the way your behavior, you're not responsible for anybody else's behavior, but you are responsible for your own. So just be mindful of that. If you're in a bad relationship with someone that you can't entirely distance yourself from, but certainly if you're in an intimate relationship and you don't have any ties, yeah, we're telling you to hop on your electric scooter or jump in your car, swim across the ocean, get as far away from that relationship as you can. Because this is a great quote. Until you let go of what's holding you back, or what's in, this isn't the quote, but it's the concept. I know there's a million quotes about it and I can't remember one exactly, but until you let go of the things that are holding you back, you're not going to and retain those things in your life. You can't make space for something new. And I don't know if you remember the exact quote, Court, but you know what I'm saying. And I'll have to look it up. But
Yeah. And if you're in a relationship where you can't necessarily break free, you need to set clear boundaries. Like, what are you able to accept in the relationship and what you're not? And then you need to hold that person accountable and say, I'm not going to accept this behavior, or, right, you just have to, distance yourself from them.
I'm going to also put in a caveat. I mean, don't rule out the capacity for change. I mean, if you need something from a partner, don't rule out the possibility that they could change. I mean, they can't change for you, but they could respond to your needs. So if you're in a relationship and you genuinely love that person, and you believe that either one of you can change, and don't forget, we're all responsible too. I mean, most relationships, it's not all one person. You have to look at other people's perspective and try to look at their viewpoint and their view of the world. You always want to be mindful of that. That's one of the presuppositions in NLP, is to respect other people's view of the world. So I always say to try to look at life from their perspective. But if they're physically abusive or emotionally abusive, I mean, those things are out of the realm of possibility. But if it's because you don't like the way their socks are on the floor, or they're messy, or things like that. I don't. It depends on how you classify a bad relationship, but there are opportunities for change. And I know I always say that everybody's capable of change. Some people aren't willing to do it, but some people are. And you may be surprised. One of the biggest, somebody asked me for one of my greatest pieces of advice last week, and one of them was to ask for what you need and what you want, because sometimes the answer is going to be yes. It could be yes. It's always going to be no if you don't ask.
I love that.
So, all right, so we got all that. So what's your challenge for me, Court? I mean, I'm going to continue on the cardio challenge, but what else? What else do you have for me?
So this week I'm challenging you to incorporate more balance into your life. Spread yourself out a little bit and not, focus on one thing. Like, don't hyper focus on, the task in front of you, balance everything else too.
Yeah, that's a tough one for me. So that's how I often derail myself. I'm so diversified that I want to, do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but I always find myself, you're exactly right, hyper focusing on one thing, uh, be it the network or the program. So you're right. Thank you. And I'm gonna try to. And how am I going to do that? How is that going to be measurable? Let me think about it. Um, How about if I commit to, I definitely want to commit to, I think one of my key things is food prep. I should do that. Commit to exercising, coping exercise, and to do something to further my visual schedules business and the coaching practice. So, all right, I got a lot to do. Plus, I got my paying gig, which yeah, I always have to do a little bit of focus on that. And Justin saying it's like a balance beam. You're exactly right, Justin. It's like a balance beam. Oh, well, no, that's the wrong one. About like a balance beam. Yeah, and you have to, I don't know if it's about my work ethic. I think Justin's saying balancing your work ethic. I think it's balancing my responsibilities, not my passions, not necessarily my work ethic. My work ethic is pretty high. I'll give myself that kudo.
Yeah, I don't know. I have a stronger work ethic than you.
Well, thank you for that. Justin saying, how can you do two things at once? Is it hard for me? Two things? No, but 12 things? Yes. I can handle the two, no problem, Justin, but 12, yeah, I try to do way too many things at once.
Yeah, once you become a parent, that you're forced to multitask.
That's for sure. All right, so what are we going to talk about next week? So we got the challenges for next week, and I will say I have Justin's challenge and Courtney's challenge. That's two things I'm working on. Next week, let's do, what's our segment going to be? Our segment of the week. Let's go with fashion finds. Let's come up with two, whatever. So what's a something cute or something a little bit funky? And we could do funky fashion finds, or let's see what we come up with. Let's do something for men because we have Justin on here and he's our biggest fan, of course. So we'll do some fashion finds for men and women. Next week, fashion Kardashian. Well, we're just gonna we don't want to mimic the Kardashians. We want to find our own fashion style. And I don't have a figure like the Kardashians, so I don't know what I could possibly be wearing. Maybe their socks or scarf, something. But Courtney might. Yeah, we're a little bit different than the Kardashians. We're gonna do a holistic health and a hot mama's fashion find. Forget the Kardashians.
Yeah, this we have a lot of fun with this.
We lost you a little bit. Repeat that.
Oh, I said I'm really excited for this one. I think we're gonna have a lot of fun with it.
I do too. I do too. And just in saying health and fashion, well, now we're just going to do fashion, just fashion finds. Health, we talk about the wellness trends every week, but we're going to think of something fun to do on fashion. So, all right. So I think we covered all of our topics. We did a lot. What do you want to say in closing? Do we have anything else we want to cover? Anything hot in the hot mamas realm? Anything out there that's trending? Um, I'm not sure. I think we covered everything we wanted to. What are your closing thoughts?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you, listeners. Thanks for, participating with us and asking your questions. I have so much fun doing this show, and I can't wait to do this again next week.
Me too. All right, so it's another great week, and as always, Justin's asking about hair products, and I'm not sure what your specific question is about hair products, Justin. But if you give us something in particular, we'll talk about that next week. We'll jot that down. We can talk about healthy hair products, and that is interesting. That is something. And Courtney's my niece. I went on away this weekend with Courtney's mom. I didn't have any hairspray, and I had to use hers, and it was like, in my opinion, she said it was the best hairspray in the world. To me, it was like toxic waste. you know, a couple, a couple of squirts, the aerosol hairspray. It took me like an hour to comb my hair out to go to bed that night. It was as stiff as a board. So that is interesting. We'll look into that, Justin. What hair products do you use? Do I use? Courtney and I probably use very different hair products. Uh, I use fairly generic hair products in regard to washing my hair. But styling, I use a couple of different things. But I think the real question and challenge should be what products can we use that are healthy, but healthier for our hair. I'll take a look at what I use and if I can find some healthy alternatives. And Court, I'm going to challenge you to do the same.
Yeah, I am actually particular about my hair products, so that's a segment that I would love.
You are particular about it?
Yeah, I am. I don't use any alcohol, sulfates, parabens on my hair, and I've been doing that for about a year and a half. And like, if you could see a side-by-side picture of my hair then and now, it's a total transformation.
All right. Well, we can see a side-by-side picture next week.
All right.
That could be a Courtney's Corner, actually.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. And so, of course, we can ever and improvement in healthy products and healthy fashion vibes and hair. You summed us up. You summed up next week, Justin. You got it. Improvement in healthy products and healthy fashion vibes and hair. So we're looking forward to that. So then, of course, we can't end the program without thanking our man behind the scenes. So thank you, Justin. I'll see you at 10, I'm sure. And Chris, thanks for another great show. And I'll see you at 10 as well. So I'll be back on tonight with the Mo and Joe show, and we're going to talk about the latest the latest happenings in the sports world. So totally changing course, and I'll be here with Courtney again next Wednesday. So thanks, guys. You can play us out, Chris. Appreciate it.